Milk goes bad fast. Yet somehow, 850 million tons of it are moved around the world every single year. Sounds impossible, right? It should be, because milk is fragile, fussy, demanding. One wrong move, 1 degree too warm, and it spoils. But here's the kicker. Most people have no clue how much chaos, science, and raw hustle it takes to keep it fresh. This isn't just about cows and trucks. It's about high-stakes tech, solar chillers in villages, smart cartons that snitch when milk goes bad, blockchain tracking every drop, and still, tons get wasted, lives get affected, money burns. What's really going on behind that morning splash in your coffee? You're about to find out. And once you do, you'll never trust that fresh label the same way again. Most people grab a gallon of milk from the store and never think twice. It's cold, it's fresh, and it's always there, right? But behind that smooth pour is a full-scale operation packed with agriculture expertise, smart technology, and precision logistics. We're not just talking about cows and barns anymore. The modern milk process is sleek, efficient, and driven by a mix of innovation and centuries-old farming knowledge. It's a dance between rural tradition and cutting-edge tech, and the steps are tighter than most folks ever realize. Let's start at the very beginning, the farm. But not the kind where someone's hand milking a cow with a bucket in one hand and a straw hat on. Those days are long gone. These days, many farms are equipped with robotic milking systems that know more about each cow than most people know about their pets. These machines scan, analyze, and even clean as they milk, customizing the process for each individual cow. It's precision agriculture at its finest, and it doesn't just make things easier for farmers. It ensures the milk is cleaner, safer, and more consistent than ever before. As soon as the milk leaves the cow, the clock starts ticking. And make no mistake, this is where timing matters most. Within just a couple of hours, that milk needs to be cooled to 4 degrees Celsius or less. Why? Because milk is one of the most perishable foods on Earth. Let it linger in the wrong temperature range, and it turns from nutritious to nasty in no time. To prevent that, farms use industrial-grade stainless steel holding tanks that chill milk fast and keep it that way. These tanks look like high-tech pods and are just as serious about their job as they look. Temperature is monitored constantly, and if there's even the smallest fluctuation, the system flags it. Once that milk is chilled and stable, it doesn't just hang around. It's loaded into insulated tanker trucks designed specifically to maintain low temperatures. These aren't your standard delivery trucks. Think of them as high-tech coolers on wheels. Every inch of those tankers is engineered to keep milk cold during transit, whether it's crossing flat plains, winding mountain roads, or waiting in port traffic for hours. It's a mobile refrigeration system built for reliability, no matter what the road throws at it. When the trucks arrive at a processing facility, things move quickly. Every batch is tested before anything else happens. Fat content, bacterial count, temperature, you name it, it gets checked. Nothing moves forward without passing strict safety and quality standards, and that's not just for the sake of regulations. It's to make sure what ends up in your glass is the real deal. Once approved, the milk moves into pasteurization. Here, it's rapidly heated and then cooled again, killing off any pathogens without altering the flavor. It's one of those tech-driven processes where speed, timing, and control make all the difference. After pasteurization, it's go time for packaging. Now, depending on where the milk is headed, the packaging process shifts gears. For local markets, milk usually gets boxed up in standard plastic or cardboard cartons. But for milk that's going far, across borders, oceans, and climates, it gets a bit of a makeover. Here's where things get interesting. Milk meant for long-distance shipping doesn't stay in its liquid form. Instead, it's transformed into formats designed for shelf life and stability. Powdered milk is the heavy hitter in this space. Spray-dried and sealed in oxygen-resistant bags, it can survive months without refrigeration. Then there's UHT, ultra-high-temperature milk. This version is flash-heated to around 135 degrees Celsius, then sealed in sterile, multi-layered packaging that can keep it safe and drinkable for 6 months or more. No fridge required. It's popular in regions where refrigeration is inconsistent or electricity is unreliable. Condensed milk, thick and sweet, is another shelf-stable option widely used in desserts, teas, and baking, especially in Southeast Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East. Every format has its own tech specs, different packaging materials, temperature handling requirements, and distribution strategies. It's not a one-size-fits-all game. That's the power of integrating technology with agriculture. adapting to needs, climates, and demand with surgical accuracy. Let's not forget the real MVPs behind this global distribution, countries like New Zealand and the Netherlands. These aren't just beautiful places with strong farming cultures, they're global powerhouses when it comes to milk exports. Their dairy industries have developed around efficiency, scale, and speed. With optimized routes, advanced chilling systems, and streamlined export hubs, they've made international milk movement look effortless. Of course, it's anything but. The secret? Smart infrastructure and full tech integration at every stage, from the pasture to the port. And through all this, agroforestry practices are finding their place too. Farmers in some regions are weaving tree systems into their dairy operations, improving land sustainability while maintaining productivity. It's not just about producing more, it's about producing smarter. Agroforestry creates shade, stabilizes soil, and helps support biodiversity, all while boosting milk production in climate-sensitive areas. So when you pour a glass of milk or stir it into your coffee, you're benefiting from one of the most finely tuned food supply systems out there. From robotic systems to multi-layered packaging, from chilled tanks to insulated trucks, there's an entire world working behind the scenes to make sure that milk stays fresh, safe, and ready to go. But even with all this precision and tech in place, there's one big wrinkle that can throw the whole system off balance. And that's where we start to see the cracks. Because in some parts of the world, keeping that milk cold isn't just difficult, it's nearly impossible. For all the high-tech systems and impressive coordination in the dairy world, there's one cold, hard truth. Milk spoils fast. It doesn't care how much technology is behind it, how advanced the agriculture methods are, or how streamlined the supply chain might look on paper. If milk doesn't stay cold, really cold, things go south quickly. It's like dealing with a guest that turns into a problem the moment you stop paying attention. See, milk starts changing within hours if not handled right. Bacteria don't wait for border clearances, traffic jams, or power outages. And that's the kicker. For countries with tight infrastructure, especially in developing regions, keeping milk at the right temperature is a daily challenge, not just a minor hiccup. Electricity is the Achilles heel here. Where the grid is unstable or non-existent, refrigeration becomes a luxury. And without refrigeration, that milk, no matter how perfectly produced, is toast. Let's get real for a second. Think about a rural dairy farm in sub-Saharan Africa or a mountainous region in South Asia. The cows are there. The agriculture know-how is there. But the cooling? That's hit or miss. Some places run off generators or solar panels, more on that later, but many rely on luck and short windows of time to get the milk to market before it spoils. And spoilage doesn't just mean a bad smell. It means wasted product, wasted money, and sometimes no milk for communities that rely on it for nutrition. Now throw in geography. Some countries are landlocked with rough, unforgiving terrain. Picture trying to get fresh milk from a remote farm in northern Afghanistan to a processing plant 300 miles away through steep mountain passes and unpaved roads, all while the clock is ticking on perishability. That's not just logistics, it's survival mode. Even the best tech in the world can't fix a washed-out road or a political border that suddenly closes due to conflict. Speaking of which, let's not ignore geopolitics. In areas where borders are unstable, where there's civil unrest, or where trade regulations shift like sand, milk supply chains get disrupted overnight. And milk doesn't wait around for diplomatic solutions. That load sitting at a checkpoint for 24 hours, it's probably ruined. By the time someone clears it, it's already gone bad. And now you've got a literal truckload of waste and a supplier who's lost thousands. Wastage is where all this really hits home. Over 15% of milk produced globally never even makes it to consumers. Think about that for a moment. Billions of gallons gone because the cold chain cracked somewhere along the way. That's not just lost profit for farmers and processors. That's lost nutrition for families. That's agriculture being stretched to its limit for nothing. That's fuel burned, packaging used, time spent, all wasted. In regions already dealing with food insecurity, that kind of loss is brutal. Milk isn't just another item on the grocery list, it's a lifeline. It's protein, calcium, and essential fats in a form that's easier to digest than meat and more affordable in many cases. When milk goes bad before it even reaches people, it's more than a logistics fail. It's a societal setback. And here's where agroforestry plays a quiet, behind-the-scenes role. In areas where land degradation adds another layer of difficulty, integrating trees into farmland helps stabilize the environment. Shade from trees reduces heat stress on animals, meaning healthier cows and potentially more consistent milk output. But when milk can't be stored or shipped safely, even agroforestry's benefits can't reach full potential. It's like building a better engine, but running it without oil. Even in developed countries, things aren't always as smooth as they seem. Think about major blizzards that shut down interstate highways in the US. Or hurricanes that knock out power for days in parts of the South. Entire shipments of milk get dumped because the cold chain gets disrupted. It doesn't matter how modern the tech is if the power grid or roads take a hit. Suddenly, that refrigerated truck becomes a ticking time bomb of spoilage, and the scale of operations means when it breaks big. A single malfunctioning chiller at a processing plant can impact tens of thousands of gallons. That's the kind of stuff that keeps dairy logistics managers up at night. One sensor fails, and the fallout isn't just milk lost, it's insurance claims, lost contracts, maybe even lawsuits. To add insult to injury, many developing regions lack detailed data on spoilage, which means they can't even analyze patterns or justify funding for improvements. No metrics, no visibility, just farmers losing hope, distributors absorbing costs, and consumers left without supply. That's where technology still has a lot of catching up to do. The tools exist, but deploying them in the right place at the right scale is a challenge in itself. And let's not forget climate. Rising global temperatures are putting even more pressure on systems that were never designed to handle this kind of heat. Refrigeration units work harder, transport windows get shorter, milk spoils faster, and unless the industry adapts, those 15% losses could climb higher. That means wasted milk and higher prices, which ripple through the entire economy. Now, is all of this solvable? Absolutely, but it's going to take more than a patchwork fix. It's going to take innovation that meets reality where it actually is, not just where the funding is easiest or the headlines sound good. And as it turns out, some regions are already starting to crack the code. When it comes to keeping milk fresh across thousands of miles, cold isn't just a preference, it's the law. And yet, for all the challenges tied to perishability, there's a quiet revolution happening behind the scenes. Creative minds around the world are coming up with ways to beat the heat, literally, and technology is giving agriculture a serious upgrade in the process. In parts of rural India where electricity comes and goes like a stubborn old radio signal, solar-powered chilling tanks are making a real difference. These systems let farmers cool milk on site right after milking, even in the middle of nowhere. They don't need a constant power source. They just need the sun, and there's plenty of that. It's practical tech built for harsh conditions, and it's keeping milk from spoiling before it ever hits a road. That kind of flexibility gives small-scale agriculture a fighting chance to play in bigger markets. There's also this clever use of blockchain, not the buzzword heavy stuff, but real, grounded applications that track milk from cow to consumer. Every temperature reading, every transfer point, it's all recorded and visible. If the milk sat too long in a truck or missed a refrigeration window, the system knows. This isn't about flashy dashboards, it's about accountability. For exporters, it means fewer disputes. For buyers, it means peace of mind. No one likes spoiled surprises. Meanwhile, packaging is getting smarter. Some milk cartons now include time temperature indicators, small patches that change color if things go off track. One glance and you'll know if the milk stayed cold or wandered into danger territory. It's simple, low cost, and puts quality control right in the customer's hands. Combine that with logistics software that reroutes trucks in real time based on traffic and weather, and you've got a system that adapts on the fly instead of falling apart. Then there are places like New Zealand and the Netherlands where everything runs like clockwork. From farm to port, the cold chain is smooth, fast, and efficient. These countries have turned dairy into a science, not by accident, but through smart investment and years of aligning agriculture with tech at every level. When milk gets collected in the morning and hits an overseas market in just a few days, you know the back-end systems are doing something right. Even packaging formats are chosen strategically. Powdered milk, UHT cartons, and condensed formats allow milk to travel long distances without breaking a sweat. They're not just alternatives, they're tactical solutions to a cold chain that can't always be trusted. Each version is built for specific markets and climates, wrapped in materials engineered to fight light, air, and time. Agroforestry fits into this picture in quiet but important ways. In hot regions, integrating trees with pastureland keeps cows cooler and reduces stress, which improves milk yield and quality. It also stabilizes soil, protects water sources, and helps create microclimates that make cold chain maintenance just a little less punishing. It's subtle work, but it supports the whole system from the roots up. Even artificial intelligence is getting involved. In some regions, it's used to predict when and where spoilage might occur, so milk can be rerouted before problems even start. It analyzes past data, weather patterns, and traffic flows, things no human could juggle at scale. The result? Less waste, better timing, and more milk that actually reaches people in one piece. What's happening isn't just clever, it's necessary. Milk won't wait. It doesn't pause for border delays or slow response times. That's why the smartest solutions are the ones that assume something will go wrong and prepare for it anyway. Because once milk leaves the farm, the odds are stacked against it. But thanks to tech-savvy problem solvers, those odds are shifting. Still, the big question lingers. How does all of this scale to handle the massive volume, hundreds of millions of tons, being moved around the globe every single year? So next time you open a carton of milk, ask yourself, what did it take to get here? How many people? How much tech? How many miles? And how much of it didn't make it? Were you surprised by how complex it all is? Did you expect solar panels, sensors, and AI to be part of your breakfast? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we'd love to hear what blew your mind the most. And hey, this is just one piece of the food system puzzle. If you're into the hidden mechanics behind what we eat and drink, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stick around. The next video, it's already on screen. You don't want to miss it.